Welcome back to Let's Play Final Fantasy VIII. Now, we're about to leave the Dalit town, and I'm gonna go rent a car. This will be the first time, I think, that I'm going to be spending any money in this game. And this is, what, episode 10? Or past 10, actually. Had this been pretty much any other game, it would have bought multiple weapons, or items of armor. Like, there's no materia to buy in this, and I haven't purchased any weapons because you don't buy weapons in this game. You upgrade them, and we haven't reached the point where we have weapons that can be upgraded. Okay, now this isn't the first time that we drove a car, but this is the first time I'm going to be driving a car under these kinds of... Whoops! God damn it. Don't tell me I lost a car. Don't tell me I lost a car. I am not going to accept this. I am not accepting that. Okay, let's try this again. I was pushing the wrong button and I backed up instead of going forward. Now, I think the driving a car is kind of a cool feature that they have in this game. I don't need to go on the road. Because it allows you to move very quickly across areas without fear of getting into battles. But you have to worry about gasoline usage and stuff. Oh wait, that's the, that is the Galbata Garden, our destination. But we can't travel right there, obviously, because of the river. But I think it's one of the coolest ideas that they had in this game, just to really show you that it's a sort of semi-modern kind of world we're taking part of here. Now, there were cars in Final Fantasy VII and all, but it really wasn't the same thing. You never really got to use one and all that kind of stuff. But one of the problems I have with this feature, though, in this game is that, you know, they're blockading that road there, railroad. Is that there's really only two parts in the game where you really even have a use for it. Ooh, got a promotion. Only 2 points in the game where you really have a use for it, and it's both debatable on whether it's even useful. The first time was heading from the garden over to the Lamb Town, and you got to ride that car for free. The second time is at this point in the game, and that's only if you decided not to get off the train at the station you were supposed to, and ended up in Dalit instead. As a result, I rented a car so I didn't have to get in any fights on the run back. And there's really no other point in the game where it really even is an option that they approach you with, or there are always better choices to use instead of driving a car. So this was something that was touted as a pretty significant feature in this game. It's like, oh, you can rent a car, you can do this, you can hop on trains. You really never have to do that, though. It's just something that they did, and you can do it once or something like that. But also, one of the cool things, or not cool, but funny, is that you can run out of gas, and then you basically abandon the car there. Or in a case like this, you can't drive through the woods. It just cannot be done. Boom, boom, boom. Can't drive through the woods. But this is our destination. This is where we have to go. Because we've got to get the Galbata Garden. The Galbata Garden is on the other side of these woods here. So I'm going to have to get out of my car and leave it here. And I am so not getting that deposit back. But, okay. Heading through the woods. Yeah, thanks for bringing that up. Yeah, it's your fault, bro. Dude, let go of him. You're creeping me out. It is kind of funny. I don't know if it's fun. migraines. Give me some Excedrin. The 3 people I had in my party. The dream world. Now remember this happened back when we were on the train ride to Timber. We went back into the minds of these 3 Galbata soldiers. Of course it's not. Nah, just my imagination. Okay, like last time, these 3 characters are going to be taking on the Guardian forces and the junctions of the characters that we were playing as in the party, with the exception of Renoa. Renoa would not end up being a part of this group. Now, the nature of this whole thing that our characters are going through, warping back into the minds of these G-Army soldiers back 18 or so years prior to well, actually a little more than 18, I imagine, years prior to the events in the game, is really not understood. Not yet, at least. Estar soldiers. Now, these guys are, if you have to go and read sort of like the history and mythology of this game to understand what these guys are really about. The Estar soldiers are a group of, are basically an army from from the country of Estar that went and was fighting the G army back during the Third Sorceress War. And if you really do read through the materials of the game, you find out there have been at least 3 Sorceress Wars. And these guys are a little bit more tech-savvy than the G-Army. Exactly what the storyline goes back quite a few years before this war, but I'm not going to go back quite that far just yet. Basically, think of it as being these guys are part of the country of Estar, and they declared war in an attempt to, I guess, take over the world because they were being led by a sorceress who decided to go and, I don't know, take over the world or some crap like that. And the only country that was powerful enough to stand up against him was the country of Galbata. Damn, gained a level. The Guardian forces did too, so I guess it wasn't bad. Run away! So I guess you could say that at least historically, Galbata hasn't always been the big evil empire that is currently characterized as being right now. Because after all, Estar was being run by a sorceress. Now, I will note that it's not the same sorceress that we encountered back in Timber. There was a different one named Adele. Very vicious, evil bitch that went and tried to basically forcibly conquer the world. Ha! That seems dangerous, doesn't it? This one's making noise. Now, if you do go back a little bit ways as far as the storyline goes, you'll find that the major powers in the world today have evolved from a much older country called the Centra, which I guess is pretty similar in sounding pronunciation of the name to the Cetra, the Ancients from Final Fantasy VII. The only difference is, well, a pretty significant difference, is that while the Cetra in Final Fantasy VII were this extremely ancient race that died out thousands of years before the start of the game, the Centra were just a civilization that existed for, they existed for thousands of years, but they died out only about 100 years, depending on your source of the information. What the hell? I did not want to be here. I guess I'll run back around. The Centra died out about, depending on your source, some say over 100, some say only about 80 years ago. So that's well within the period of what you expect to be a written history. But after the Centra fell apart, basically 3 groups splintered off of that. There was... confused, it's a new one. There was Darlet, there was Galbata, and then there was Estar. And the 3 went their own separate ways after the destruction of the Centra during an event called the Lunar Cry, which is when all of the monsters that live on the moon swarm down and pour down onto the planet, Earth, Gaia, whatever you want to call it. And they landed down on the Centra capital and basically killed everyone there. Blew the entire place up. Boom. Left a big-ass crater. Which is the storyline explanation for where all the monsters in the world came from. Also note that the Centra built a number of shelters expecting this lunar cry to occur, and those became the gardens. Those big structures that the gardens are built upon, those are Centra. What do we do with this? This looks like a fun rock. Well, for whatever reason, the Centra never got a chance to use their shelters, and then they were basically destroyed, and the 3 countries went our own separate ways, and eventually declared war on each other. Obviously, Dalit is the weakest of the 3, but the 2 major powers at the time were Galbata and Estar. Now, Estar went and... hold on. Yeah. Let's go blow stuff up anyway. Assuming the people that set the charges knew what they were doing. That was a big boom. Ha! Yeah, sure. See if we can get the other one. Run for it! Never seen him run that fast before. That was a small explosion. And we've now clogged the hole the other one fell through. Yeah, sure, you told us. You told us for sure. And I think it's interesting to note that the two major powers the two major military powers that came out of this, they were in conflict against each other, and you could say reasonably that Galbata was the lesser of two evils during the time. But as the war came to a close and Estar basically disappeared off the face of the earth, Galbata assumed that same sort of mantle as extreme aggressor, going and destroying, going and conquering all the lands around them as quickly as they could. Yes, he does. Two pigs with one stone. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Can't go that way. But the trick here is to set as many traps as you can. I wasn't going to show you this battle, but it's a new type of monster, so I'm going to show this. Nothing that we haven't seen before. Try to steal from it. Shell and protect. Shell and protect work like a dude. Protect works against physical attacks. Shell works against magic attacks. And let's see if we can turn this creature into a card. Because after all, stole a black hole. If you can manage to turn an enemy into a card as opposed to killing it in battle, you get no experience points for the fight, which, as I mentioned before, is actually a good thing because you don't want too many experience points because you gain levels and so do the enemies, and they get more out of it than you do. And we got the card. Excellent. Not only does that prevent you from getting experience points, but you still get Guardian Force AP, which is very useful for leveling up your GFs in the sense that they can gain new abilities like Boom. But you also get the cards, and as I think I mentioned this earlier, having the ability to take cards and modify them into new objects like M-stone pieces, black holes, water crystals, all of these different things is very useful for not only upgrading your weapons, but upgrading your GFs and other kinds of things. So, I mean, having a whole lot of cards is useful not just for the card game that you play. In fact, in a lot of ways, I think not having a lot of cards is actually useful for the card game, because in the event that you go and play a card game in a region that has the random rule where they randomly pick a lot of cards, it's gonna, if you have a large pool of cards that are including things that you really don't want to be playing with, like low-level cards and all that kind of stuff, it may very well just go and draw those low-level cards out instead of the higher-level ones you want to use and lower your chances of winning. So in other words, having a lot of low-level cards is really bad, but if you go and you take them and modify them into items, then boom, you get some nice items out of the deal as well, and make it easier for your card games. Of course, the more you play in the game, the more high-level cards you get, and the more useful the more the more cards you have to turn. I'm not sure what that really didn't work. There's a trap over here I forgot to set, so I'm gonna go set it now. But how's he getting these sayings from? Yeah, you have to admit that. Yeah, tamper with it. It's not like terribly important that you set all of these traps, but in the event that you do, it's gonna work out better for you later. Now this event takes place during the Third Sorcerer's War, and Laguna, not only did he was part of the invasion force that invaded Timber, but he's also involved in this war against Estar now. The thing I want to point out is a very important difference between Laguna and Squall in terms of the way their characters work. Squall is a very serious but closed emotionally person who is actually going out of his way in some form to go and become a soldier, a mercenary in fact. Whereas Laguna is an older guy, he's in his mid-late 20s or something like that. And he is a soldier, and he's a more experienced one. He's an older guy, I don't know how long he's been in the military, but he's an experienced soldier that really doesn't want to be one. He doesn't like fighting. I mean, he's going and doing it here because he has to. But he doesn't like fighting, and he'd rather be a journalist. So in other words, you have an inexperienced guy on one side, an inexperienced prospect for a soldier who wants to, well, for whatever reason, it's not really revealed, wants to go and be a mercenary. In fact, he is by this point in the game. Then you have an actual experienced soldier who doesn't want to be. So I just think it's funny that these two characters are linked in this kind of unusual cosmic way, or some weird whatever it is that is linking them together is linking two people who are very, very different. In fact, almost polar opposites, if you want to put it that way. Okay, we have a battle here. An unskippable one. Just a couple of dudes here. So, let's kick the crap out of them and move on. Ward was blinded, so I didn't want to try using any physical attacks for him. Oh, wow. And he died. Okay, lowered the HP down to 1. Okay, apparently, I believe that was actually a scripted event that was supposed to happen. their HP gets knocked down to 1 because in the storyline this is supposed to happen where Laguna is fairly good condition and Cross and Ward are severely injured. What the hell are you doing, dude? Dude, really? Are you sure that's a good idea? Dude, doesn't... Oh, come on. Okay, there we go. We've reached the other side of the forest, and Galbata Garden is right over there. But I'm going to end the episode here, though, so thanks for watching, and come back for the next episode where we will head to Galbata Garden and to the safety that provides.